Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts at patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
My cat is scratching my elbow. Kitten! Kitten. She looks at me like it's a surprise that I'm yelling at her. Kitten, go away. Go away. Go away. My God.
Yep.
What could she possibly
It's
want?
a little viper. I don't know.
Yeah.
She may not want anything. That may have been the entirety of her want, is to just scratch your elbow.
Yeah. Half the time she just wants my loyalty. Sometimes she wants my seat. Mm-hmm. Like she'll meow and meow and meow. I'll get up to see what's wrong and she'll just get in my chair. Like a real asshole.
Yeah. No, cats are motherfuckers. I don't know why you haven't figured this out yet.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, my name is David Bell.
My name is Tom Ryman.
And we just watched Uncle John.
Uncle John.
He's an uncle.
Uncle John's bonfire. I don't know.
Yeah, he loves his bonfire.
Yeah, he does.
Sheriff just got back from up by the dam there. They found Dutch Miller's rowboat spinning around up there this morning, full of gear, but no Dutch.
You know, I always thought I'd like to date someone crafty.
A carpenter.
Yeah, like a carpenter.
My uncle's a carpenter.
Wait, the one that raised you?
The same.
So can you do it?
What set you up with my uncle?
It's not going to make any sense to people unless they've seen this movie that no one's seen.
That nobody has seen. It has people in it, though, and it's made by people.
Yeah. And this was also given to us by people through our Patreon, specifically Jay Wilder Konchak and Sterling McLaughlin. Thank you so much for giving us Uncle John. I forget the exact conditions of these two. I'm trying to remember, so I'm stalling. Mm-hmm. I think they worked on, or they made the movie that we reviewed before, Cold War.
Sure.
If you remember that.
I do.
And I probably should have wrote stuff down. You ever think about writing stuff down, Tom?
Yeah.
Point is that these two...
what normally happens is I think about writing stuff down, and then I write the stuff down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Point is that these two pointed us towards Uncle John. This movie from... When was this made?
2015?
2015. Most people probably haven't heard of. It got some awards. It's not like a... super indie, right?
No, it was it says it premiered at South by Southwest. It was written and directed by Stephen Piet, who's gone on to make like a couple of mystery things, like that Rosario Dawson show Briar Patch, and something else. Like there was another credit under his name where I was like, ooh, but now I've forgotten what it was.
Right. And yeah, it's got some actors in it. Is the main old guy in Beverly Hills Cop?
The main old guy is Taggart from Beverly Hills Cop.
That just clicked in my head, and that
John
is the single most amazing thing about this movie.
He's in Midnight Run as well.
Yeah, he sure is. He's in Beverly Hills Cop. He's one of the cops that
he's
the banana in the
Taggart.
tailpipe. Yeah.
Well, no, they put a banana in the. No, wait, it is their tailpipe.
Yeah, it's their tailpipe.
It's their tailpipe.
Axel
their replacements shit on them about getting fucked up by the banana in the tailpipe.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man,
killing it.
How did you like this movie, Tom?
Man, I liked this movie. It kept my attention. I think there's some definite issues with it. I think it could be about 30 minutes shorter.
I think we're vibing here. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed the shit out of this movie. It had some really good moments and some really like cool ideas.
Yeah.
But there were scenes where people would just sort of talk, and I'd be like, cut to the old murder guy again.
Yeah, well, okay, so I think this movie is very unique. It's essentially, it's like it took a romantic comedy and a thriller,
yeah,
and stapled it together.
Yeah, in a way that was cool. I'm not sure what the point was.
Oh, I get
but
it.
I understand a little of it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was going to say it didn't really matter because I really enjoyed the idea of it.
Right. And
it didn't need to mean something necessarily.
No, and I think the meaning is relatively superficial. It's not like super, because it's just a juxtaposition. It's basically
and it's sort of Go on. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, let me finish.
I feel like you're going to articulate it better than me.
Yeah, and I had an initial train of thought there, but basically this movie blends romantic comedy and thriller. It's about this old guy, Uncle John, his nephew Ben, whom he raised after Ben's mother died in an accident, and it's basically just two concurrent narratives about Ben living his life as a graphic designer for an ad firm in Chicago, and then John is in rural Wisconsin dealing with a guy who died and whose body he hid. And we never know. He definitely kills the second guy. We never know if he actually killed the first guy.
Well, to me that implies that he killed the first guy, right?
And we kind of see probably exactly what happened.
Yeah, the opening it's really cool. It's like it's really cool credits. It's like a preacher over this guy like stumbling to the water. And the preacher stuff, by the way, that doesn't really that's why I feel like there's got to be a deeper meaning that they meant and it didn't come out, or at least I was too dumb to get it. Because the God stuff in it is
preacher's, the sermon, it's a real fire and brimstone sermon about how we say the word hellfire
over and Jesus does.
Yeah, over and over again without realizing that it is two words and not one.
Right.
And that it's it is confirming both the existence and the kind of the identity of hell.
Yeah, it's the idea that Jesus called out hell.
Yeah. Hell exists, and it is explicitly a place of fire.
Yeah, and we understand that the guy who died is doing a lot of like confessions.
He's found
I'm guessing
Jesus.
Yeah. It's more just like the deeper meaning of that versus what the plot is.
I think the deeper meaning of that is just, it's sort of like the ending too, where Kate, Ben's new girlfriend, is talking about how her family's crazy. She's like, I have 6 aunts and uncles and they're all crazy.
Oh, right.
And she's describing how they're all crazy, and he's like, not me, man, it's just me and Uncle John, and Uncle John's normal as shit. I think it's about how, and then like John's whole storyline is he's just this completely genial dude going about his normal life as a popular, well liked and regarded man in this small town, as he is simultaneously holding the knowledge that he's killed a man and disposed of his body.
Yeah.
So I think
he's capable of like extremely, I guess, evil acts.
Mm-hmm.
This whole time while being like, a pretty normal dude.
Right. And that's, relating back to Jesus saying hellfire and us not hearing what he's saying. I think that's kind of the root of the juxtaposition. It's both specifically about John as a character, because his character is very much like that, this genial, likable guy who's murdered somebody, and it's kind of obvious that he has.
That is the superficial, because it's sort of, this movie has a punchline basically, which is like, oh yeah, that's my Uncle John. He's a regular guy. I was wondering if there was like a reason for the following the nephew the whole damn time. The framing device for this, though, like we said, mushing in a romantic comedy and a thriller, and they're going to cross paths at one point, and they don't. They actually just near miss. Spoilers, by the way. This is a movie I'm going to say people should check this movie out. It's very interesting.
You should watch this movie. It's definitely like I think we both. You never officially. Well, we did agree. We both agree that it's a little bit too long, and we're about to get into that.
It drags. It's got a few problems, but it's like really cool idea and really well done in a lot of places. And like it clearly is, it's on a budget, a lot of handheld and so on.
A lot of handheld, but really strong performances.
Yes, really strong performances. No, it's definitely a movie worth seeing that I enjoyed.
All right.
And like,
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So the other element, the non-superficial element to that Bible verse, I believe is just the mental gymnastics we do to get through each day because of we're defending the right to live not in fear and terror and discomfort and anxiety. Just by it's kind of the same way you ignore your mortality because what good does it do you to sit there and dwell on it? You know what I mean? And that's direct. That is precisely what the story is, and I believe that's why we have the juxtaposition of John and Ben's life, because it's basically showing us what John is protecting by doing this.
Yes. Okay. That was all right. That was what I suspected. It was just seemed like there was nothing like,
I'm not sure that
he's not protecting anything. It's more that he's protecting, they're showing this person who looks at him in a certain way and who is raised by him and has a pretty well balanced life and is going through like a really
bad time. Like he just broke up with a
but he's about to have a really nice. He's going through an actual really good moment.
Yes, during
Uncle John's lowest point, which is like I feel like it's a thing that's in a few movies. That idea. Mm-hmm.
It's the old generation passing on to the new and stuff, and like the idea, the sacrifices the old generation makes for the new generation.
Yeah, I got that. It was just weird because he's not actually doing anything for him. Sort of. I guess his life is in danger in that moment.
It's more the knowledge thing. It goes back to the hellfire idea.
There's an idea of the old people like hiding their sins from the
and not talking about it, which is why Ben thinks everything is normal in that town and it super isn't. Oh gosh, there's one.
Yeah, I do really like that idea because that is.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Well, I had a really important thought, and it's gone. Okay.
Was it like renewable energy or like
no?
An invention?
It wasn't the anti-life equation.
Okay.
It's basically just real quick. The way the movie is set up is we aren't given any information up front, which I think is one of the things I really like about it. So the movie just throws you in and there's never really any exposition dumps or anything like that.
Much like this podcast is doing, by the way.
Yeah, we'll get to it. But you learn about the characters through each scene, which I thought was cool. So it takes you a while to sort of understand. Like for the vast majority of the movie, you have absolutely no idea why John's doing what he's doing. But basically, it starts with it clearly was going on a fishing trip with this guy and something happened. It's heavily implied that he kills him.
Yeah.
But
anyway, the guy falls into the water and he's what is his condition when he falls into the water?
It's unclear.
Unclear.
He's like he's not visibly injured, but he's clearly.
But John is following him with the oar.
He's following him and he's wielding it.
Yes, I was going to say he's kind of wielding it. And then when he falls in the water face down, John clearly doesn't try to save him and just stands there.
He's shocked or like he's like shell shocked and he's trying to decide what to do. So it's not like the look on it. The look on his face is like almost panic. But it's not. It's
possible this man had a heart attack.
We don't know.
We're not really certain, but it's not clear that
it's not 100% definite that he killed the guy.
But it's clear that John is glad he's dead, or at least is fine with him.
He's not sad about it. Like he immediately starts treating it like, okay, this is a problem that needs to be resolved.
Right, because that's the thing. Is the next thing that happens is he covers it up.
Right, he wants to conceal this dude's death, and it's unclear why. And then we have this whole other storyline with Ben in Chicago, which doesn't really matter. A lot of the lines. It basically just introduces us to his character and then the woman Kate who will eventually become his new girlfriend. And
like the actors are all fine. They're all doing a great job, but the plot is so mundane that it almost, this is my one criticism, is that it kept being like throwing an anchor in a moving boat, where it was like, oh, you're slowing me down a little bit because I just want this Fargo adventure of this old man.
Yeah.
Like, and I get what they're doing, but I feel like there needed to be more plot there.
Yeah, it's a little too much of, I got the feeling that a lot of the rom-com scenes, which are all the Ben scenes, like I really got like a improvised feeling from
yes,
those.
and not like a necessarily well improvised, like a very casual improvised.
Yeah,
the way you see in a lot of indie films, actually, where they're, but like a lot of those they know to like kind of cut from them a little quicker, and I think they needed to cut from them a little quicker.
Yeah, there's too much. There's too much of it. Basically, there's a lot of
they're charming. The things they're talking about, they're charismatic. It's just it's the idea that movies are heightened reality.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, hearing someone's just regular conversation, sometimes it's like, they're cute people, I get it, but it's not, I don't need to hear this whole conversation, you know?
Yeah, I get the intent. They wanted us to give a pretty full snapshot of both of their lives, both Ben and John. It's just, you could have, there's a lot of it is just, you know, it's just filler, and a lot of it could go.
And I think...
we'd still feel the same about the characters. I see that it makes you like care for them a little bit more just because you've spent so much time with them and seen them be charming and genial.
It would have been nice to have more of an arc to the characters that wasn't just are we gonna?
Yeah, this movie is all plot.
yeah. But because like John feels like he has sort of an arc, or at least he has a journey.
Mm-hmm.
Ben doesn't have much of a journey, and in fact, a lot of his moments, like I said, the actor's fine, and like you get to know him and you get to like him, but he doesn't start off particularly charismatic.
It's a weird. That first scene is weird.
Yeah, and then him them talking about porn.
Yeah, the
and
porn
then he like cyber stalks her.
It's like, what is? Well, that's like fine. Everybody does that.
Yeah, yeah. I guess people do that.
Yeah,
don't
everybody
they?
does that. Yeah, when you meet somebody, it's not even somebody you're necessarily interested in dating.
No, you just want to see.
Yeah, sometimes you just want to see. I want to see what this person's life is.
And then her decision later to drive 5 hours with him.
That's
after like knowing him for like a week, and it was like, this is very thin. Everything, these characters are very thin, and that's why it was almost like I don't need as much of that, because you're telling such a robust story with the other world. There's still a little thin. Like the reason that the brother suspects him seems really thin as well, but they don't tell you a lot
until we know what it is.
Oh yeah. Also, it's also just that we don't need it's like the X-Files episode from the monster's point of view. We can kind of assume that he's piecing stuff together as he goes as well.
Well, and the more that they reveal about why John did what he did, the more sense it makes. One, why Danny, who is the brother of the dead guy, would zero in on John as a suspect, and two, why he would be like behaving like a maniac, like the way he is. We come to learn that basically Dutch was like a big time ne'er-do-well, so the fact that he's missing is like nobody's really surprised.
Right.
And in point of fact, they arrest somebody else who might have, like, if John had waited another couple of days, might have murdered Dutch.
Him, yeah.
Because they were fighting over some cash. But like Dutch was like Dutch is like a born again Christian. So it seems like he was going through his 12 steps or something, right? Because he was like making amends to people. And it's clear, we slowly learn that he went to John to make amends for something. And then we gradually learn that he is Ben's father via an affair that John's sister had with him, with Dutch, however many years ago. And that when Dutch broke off the affair, she killed herself. She jumped off of this ridge in the woods. Now, Ben has grown up his whole life.
Just thinking like she died in a car accident.
She died in a car accident, and he has no clue that Dutch is her dad, his dad.
Yeah, that kind of hits you on the head in that scene that they have dinner.
Mm-hmm.
and he's just like, let me tell you about my family. And it was like, oh no, because like you said, it feels fairly improvised until these things happen where he just says this exposition. It's sweaty, but it's a good idea still.
A little. I think they pull it off because they have Danny in there. He's just pulling photos on the wall and really needling John over the fact that her hair color doesn't match Ben's hair color. I mean,
they should have just had that scene. I don't know. There's the scene where he explains where has happened to his mother, to the woman from work.
Oh,
and they're just in dinner, and it just cuts to him, and he's just immediately starts talking about his family, and it's like real. The way they get to it is really sweaty, from what I remember.
Maybe it didn't necessarily. It seemed natural when I was watching it, but maybe if I saw it again.
Maybe it's just watched so many movies. It was one of those moments where I'm like, well, clearly this is important. Clearly this is exposition.
No, I'm having that with I'm watching that HBO series Mayor of Easttown.
Oh no, I haven't seen that.
It's not bad. But there are a couple of scenes where I'm just like, okay, I see the writing here.
Yeah, because if you're trying to do
this.
Yeah, if you're trying to weave a mystery, if it's really hard when because it's constantly about Uncle John, and they talk about back in the day and stuff like that, and we already sort of know oh, he had beef with this guy. And then there's just a scene where, God, I wish he's asking her a question about a song or something, and then he immediately is just like, oh yeah, that reminds me of my mom. And then he just starts being like, she died in a car accident. It's like, this is so very clearly going to come up later, just because there's no reason for it to exist otherwise. The best way to hide exposition is to make people feel like it's to serve a different purpose than you want it to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think they could have done that better had they given that plot. What's the character's name? Ben?
Mm-hmm.
Had they given him more of an arc and more goals, so that these things could have been naturally worked in a little better. It's just a little sweaty. That's all.
Yeah,
but still really good. I just think they probably overcompensated. They were probably we're worried that the audience won't understand.
I can't even remember that exact line of dialogue. That's how little I flagged it. So
right.
I guess I was just keying into I was keyed in, I think, by that point to the fact that, okay, we're going to learn a little bit more about each character with each scene, just because that's the way the movie had been going.
Right. Yeah,
so
I wrote down exposition
really
date. I flagged it at the time, but I didn't know what necessarily it was about at the time. I also wrote discount Chandler.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Looking at my notes. Ken, the actor's fine.
Yeah, he's on Saturday Night Live.
Oh really? Good for him. Good for him.
What the fuck was I thinking about?
Well, so we're talking about so it's revealed that the brother honed in on him because he has a clear reason to want to kill this guy. And is the idea that whatever he confessed to him was probably enough to make him want to kill this guy?
I think whatever
because he already knew that they had an affair and that.
Well, Dave, he's making amends, right?
Right.
So if he goes to John to tell him, hey, actually, your sister was very upset when I broke it off with her, so she killed herself.
He doesn't. I thought he knew that she had killed herself.
Oh, he knows he knows she killed herself. He doesn't necessarily know the reason why.
Got it.
But even if he does, the point is, Ben doesn't know.
Ben so he's gonna tell Ben. Yeah, that's
Ben was probably next on his list.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So he was going to show up and tell Ben, I'm your father and your mom killed herself because I broke up with her.
So it is about protecting the youngins from the truth. And this Now, this guy's with a very
that is at least they never flat out say what it is, but that's what it's heavily implied.
No, I think that all scans. I think you.
I just want to put in a little asterisk. I could be wrong, but because the movie never tells you. But
well, here's the thing: you never leave the movie confused. Didn't leave the movie and be like, "What? Well, why did he kill him?" I knew it was okay. clearly there was some part of that he wasn't aware of.
I think it was all about Ben. I don't necessarily think
you're
any
right.
of the
I think it
information
is
was
just
new
to
to
quiet
John.
him.
Yep.
Yeah. This brother hones in on him. He starts harassing him, and then out of nowhere shows up Ben. Really out of nowhere, because Ben's hanging out with this lady. It's like nighttime. They're at work, and he's
it's during the day.
It's during the day.
Yeah,
they start at work.
Yeah,
they're just doing like the weekend, right?
Yeah, or it seems to be. It's either a Friday or a Saturday, because remember, he stays the night at some lady's house and gets called into work.
Right, so that's got to be a Saturday. I mean, this doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but it is, because they are just hanging out, and they're like, he's like, I know where to get the best donuts, but it's 2.5 hours away. And she's like, let's go. And like, there is a time in my life where I would have done that. And yes, romantic situations warrant, being spontaneous.
Spontaneous day trips.
That is fucking exhausting. That is a 5-hour trip, round trip.
Round
5
trip,
hours,
yeah.
to get donuts. And this woman is just like, let's do it. And it's like, she's only known him for maybe a couple of weeks, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, don't do that. But whatever, it's fine. And so
I get it.
Yeah, it's not enough to break the movie or anything. I was just like, man, that sounds awful.
Yeah,
that sounds like a terrible trip with someone you've only known for a very small amount of time.
Well,
but they're
she's
like into each other,
right? They're clearly interested in each other. They had a quasi date that didn't go so well because she wound up getting him basically hooked up with some other woman. So to kind of gently reject him, but then I guess she felt bad about it. So this is like, okay, let me get to know you and meet your family and shit.
Yeah, she's well enough written, like
it's
they go,
not.
they
It's
feed
not
some cows.
It's a pretty. It's unexpected, but it's not like, oh, somebody would never suggest that. It's like, no, you might. I mean,
and then they show up, and Uncle John's like, he's got stuff going on.
he's got some shit
He's
to
juggling
handle.
a lot of stuff. This old bastard's just like, Christ. Hey, welcome. Like, I love this old bastard running around trying to make sure covers up this murder. Because he takes the body, and he's like, he's pretty good about it. He does the murder pretty good. Because he's casual enough. He like calls, I think, the cops or someone. He's like, I'm going to be doing a bonfire.
Yeah.
No, it's like a neighbor maybe.
At first, the first time he calls a neighbor, because he's a carpenter, so he regularly does bonfires to burn his old wood and scrap and shit.
So he was. I think most handymen could get rid of a body in general, one way or another. If you know a handyman, like that's who you go to with a body, because
that person has disappeared a few corpses.
Yeah, or they have the chemicals needed, or they know a good
guaranteed.
area.
They don't let you graduate handyman college unless you've dissolved a body.
Absolutely. So yeah, he burns the body, and then he crushes up the bones. Very, very, very wise of him. And so
sufficient.
So he knows that this guy is clearly going to be coming to his house because he's been harassing. The brother shows up when the nephew shows up, and like they're clearly old buds, and they don't understand any, or Ben has no idea that this guy is
clue.
Out to get him.
He's walking around there like a smacked ass.
They do a really good job at building this tension. The first 13 minutes of this movie are fantastic. It's just him getting rid of this body. And it's like really, really tense.
And we don't know anything. Like it drops you in cold.
Anything.
We have no idea who he is, who the dead guy is, why he killed him, if he killed him, why he's hiding his body.
Yeah, it's just this old guy trying to fucking cover up.
And we have no idea why.
And then so the brother, Danny, comes back at night with a thing of gasoline, and he's clearly like, and he has a gun, and he's clearly working himself up to do something.
He's in point of fact arguing with himself. Like he's got tears in his eyes at one point. He says no to himself.
Yeah.
Like he's really arguing with himself.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Ben and her name's Kate, the character, are inside the house doing romance.
Having a whole romantical. They're in an entirely different movie.
Yes. And then Uncle John strangles the shit out of Danny. And Danny, because he can't fire the gun. And he fucking, it's like he Assassin Creeds him.
Well, he bashes him on the head with the shotgun first,
right?
Which
and
is,
then he strangles him with the gun, right?
Which is like a little bit of a hint that maybe he did hit Dutch with the oar, although Dutch is not wounded.
Yeah.
When he collapses in the water, so who knows?
Yeah, this didn't seem like his first rodeo.
No, he did
murder.
it. I think that's another reason for the juxtaposition is, first of all, it's a challenge. How can we mash up a rom-com with a murder mystery?
Yeah.
But it's like,
well, not a mystery, but go on.
Not a mystery, a thriller, a murder thriller.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a mystery, but it's an atypical mystery.
Right. It's a motive.
The motive
mystery.
is the mystery, right?
Yeah.
The juxtaposition, I think, part of its function is meant to help us accept that John would do all this.
Right.
Because otherwise it might seem like, Jesus, why the fuck did this guy fly off the handle?
I think you nailed exactly.
Yeah.
Why they have this whole other story, because the story of Ben is the motive.
Yes.
That's the story of the motive, and we're watching, this is the murder, and this is why. And it's to preserve this guy's life as a graphic designer making shitty advertisements.
It was funny how his boss, I was like, I've met 7 of these guys.
Yeah, that office.
The
I've
office.
been here.
Yep. The notes that they're going through where they're like, we want a bandana, and then like 2 days later, we don't like the bandana. It's like, I've been there.
Yeah, that feels like this director or the writers clearly had a bone to pick. Like one of them worked one of these jobs.
I think a lot of people in entertainment and media have worked these jobs.
Yeah. So that makes sense. And so he strangles the guy. He lights his fucking ass
telling him to
on fire
as he's strangling him.
Yeah.
Quiet, you'll wake up my nephew.
Nephew leaves the next day with this nice little new relationship, and then Uncle John fucking goes back to the quarry, lights the body on fire, and the local cop shows up, and they just sort of talk. And it's part of that is that Uncle John, again, he's like just a local handyman. He knows how to talk.
And everybody knows him.
Everybody knows him. He's doing it in front of everybody, and nobody realizes it.
That's the Jesus thing again. Yeah.
Yeah. That's.
In point of fact, I think the last line of the movie is the sheriff looking at the bonfire and being like,
saying,
that's a great
I am
one.
Jesus.
Yeah. I am Christ. Remember hellfire. No, like he's looking like right at the body being destroyed and says, wow, that's a really good fire.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely some Fargo, right? They were inspired.
Oh yes.
Less comedic Fargo, I would say.
It depends on what scenes. Like the actual crime stuff isn't funny, but I laughed. Yeah. I laughed a few times at like some of the bits that people
there's some
would
cute
do.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Again, it's not really like, well, it's not Coen Brothers. It's not like weird dialogue or
it's
like
not.
larger than life characters. I think that's just where the movie's a little flat, and the movie's really good at tension. Really good. The part where what's his face, the brother shows up and he like asks them all if they want to get a beer, and the camera follows him into the garage, and the garage door opens, and it's like building this really great tension in every scene, because or you're wondering if this is all going to explode, because it's him, his nephew, and his nephew's friend, and then this guy who just knows that he killed somebody. And he's there wondering, like, where is this going?
Knows that he killed his brother.
Yeah, and he's trying to, like, constantly separate them.
Yes.
So that he doesn't say anything weird.
The positioning in Act 3 around the house is really well done.
Yeah.
Like when they make it clear in the geography of just... It's a very well-directed movie.
It is.
It's clear in the geography, like when Danny's outside trying to work himself up to do whatever he was going to do with that gas can and that pistol.
Yeah.
You can see he is directly... he's across the yard, but he's facing the front door, and it keeps cutting inside, and Ben's leaning against the front door window, and you're like, is he going to fucking shoot him through the window? Like,
yeah, it's building really good tension. Yeah. Really good geography. You're wondering how it's all going to play out. What I was going to say is I think the comedy beats need work.
I think there
as
needed to be
opposed to the tension.
There needed to be less of them, yeah. Like that.
Yeah,
that first
they weren't-
scene where we meet Ben is so weird.
They're a little too muddled. They're not crisp enough. Like the
It's too
beats.
it's too improv.
It's too improv-y. It's too like it should have someone should have wrote the lines. If they improv'd them, someone should have given them clear lines, because it just needed to be punched up a lot more. And I felt like the editing, because it's shot kind of from that improv, like the sensibilities of shooting tension the way they were shooting tension, which is these kind of wider long shots, didn't really work for the comedy as much when that would happen. There were still some good bits. It's just I feel like the execution didn't quite work.
I don't think they were executed the same way.
Some of them were. I'm also thinking of like when they come home drunk. That shot is just like one wide.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
It's shot more like an indie. Like that feels more like a different type of indie movie, I guess. I almost wish the two worlds were shot differently. More differently.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Because I think
to show more of a juxtaposition, and
right. I think they were, but just not because of a number of reasons. I'm sure. One of which is probably limitations, just technical limitations.
Yeah,
but yeah, they're not. There's not like a stark enough contrast that you can immediately tell the difference without seeing a character.
Yeah. I would say it really, but this is all only a problem. And by problem, I don't mean a big problem, you know?
Not really, because as I'm thinking about it, it's like, well, you wouldn't want to do it so stark that it seems like farcical, like Stay Tuned. You know what I mean? Where it's like they have to make it clear that they're on a new TV show.
I think what it all comes to is the fact that the first part, I would say, of Ben's story drags. And you're not quite sure why you're watching it.
Exactly.
That's really what it comes down to. Is they need to stall a little bit on that, and it could have used a little more conflict, or like another thing tying it together. I don't know what, you know. I feel like if this was done, I feel like another way this could have been done is they could have had it all still be in the town and had Ben be in the town, existing with his uncle, and it's the uncle, you know, like trying to keep it from him. Like I can see that being an easier way to do it, is that instead of them sort of intersecting, they just start in that town. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Or
you could organically get a little more exposition out. You could do stuff where it's like,
yeah, it could be Ben is coming in to visit.
Yeah. Maybe he needs to visit sooner.
So he arrives in his first. Like we're introduced to him as he's arriving to visit Uncle John.
Yeah,
I don't know. We don't need to sit here and give this movie notes. I don't want to do that.
No, absolutely not. I really liked it. I'm trying to pinpoint though from the behind the scenes. Like it felt like that was the baby they needed to kill, which was having the two stories and then having them intersect. Does that make sense? Like that was clearly what they really wanted to have happen.
Yes.
And I think they needed to kill that baby and do it in a more efficient way. That said, had they done that, maybe it would have been a mess and I wouldn't have liked the film, because I really like the film.
Yeah.
It's a really fun film. I think when did this come out? 2015?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, it's got a good rating. I've just never heard anybody bring it up.
No, I never heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it reminds you how many goddamn movies there are.
Yeah, there's just an impossible amount. You guys, so
really
many goddamn movies.
Unmanageable amount of movies.
Too many movies.
Yeah. What is this person, this director, going on to do?
I don't know. They got something going on.
Because, like, I can't stress enough the fucking tension in this.
It's pretty good.
They directed a couple episodes of Briar Patch.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah. Well, I can't be expected to hear things, Tom.
No, I suppose not. Yeah, it's asking a lot of you to pay attention to what I'm saying in this podcast that we host.
God, so many words. Who's the co-writer? Let me look at the co-writer.
Sure.
Everybody hold. hold. They only wrote this. They did visual effects on fucking Captain America: The Winter Soldier. My point is, I want to see more fucking thrillers by these people. Someone give them more. Give them more. They deserve more.
I mean, well, there you go, Dave. You just mentioned that the co-writer did visual effects.
Yeah.
There it is.
What?
A guy doing CG graphic design at his computer, bitching about the stupid notes he keeps getting.
He did the main title sequence for Winter Soldier.
Sure.
So yeah, whatever bullshit he had to deal with there.
Yeah.
God, you're so that's exactly it. Oh, that's pretty funny.
The Act. That's the other thing that this guy worked on. The Act.
Cool. I mean, maybe I should just watch these things because I guess I like this. So
Night Flyers is apparently another thing, but yeah, I need to watch. I had been meaning to. I've seen The Act. It's good. I've been meaning to watch Briar Patch. So
yeah, they should make another movie though. I don't know. This
maybe they should. Feels like TV is a better deal right now.
Yeah, they're doing great. I'm just talking about what I want.
Yeah. This is what I want. I want more movies.
I'm not giving them. They don't need advice from me. They're doing fine. They're doing fine without my advice. Yeah. I'm just saying that I would like them to make another movie because I really enjoyed this one. And for like the things we're talking about, feel like it's more because they just didn't have enough money and or time was the main issues.
Yeah.
And even those aren't issues. They get around it pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good film. People should check it out. Have you heard about this Uncle John, you guys? You should check it out.
You heard about this? You seen this?
Yeah.
It's Uncle John. I don't have anything else to say. I think.
No. Why would we?
We don't want to talk this movie to death.
Thank you to Jay Wilder Konchak and Sterling McLaughlin. Thank you very much.
McLaughlin?
I think it's Laughlin. Laughlin. That's a McLaughlin.
Laughlin, yeah.
McLaughlin.
Yeah.
McLaughlin.
Yes.
Say it with me.
McLaughlin. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you too so much. This was a delightful film. I enjoyed watching it. This was through our Patreon. If people are interested, they can go to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. On there we have, for $5 a month, exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman and Fox Mulder is a Maniac. We also have Star Trek: The Next Futurama. Those are all on our under our $5 paywall.
Goddamn shows.
Yeah.
For just $5 measly dollars. It is too many.
It's way too many.
It is entirely too many.
Yeah, we got to stop.
I'm being driven slowly insane by this enterprise.
God, right?
We also have a store at tpublic.com/store/gamefullyunemployed where you can get t-shirts, masks, mugs, stickers, posters, all kinds of things. So check that out.
Check it out. Check it out before one of us kills the other, burns the body.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do with my body, Tom?
Well, let's see. Honestly,
you got some desert, right?
I've got a lot of desert. I could just chuck your ass. And
I think you could just chuck me.
Fucking mountain lions and the buzzards would take care of you.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought about New England in the woods, like, in like a day, a bear is just going to be like, oh, sweet.
Yeah, oh, sweet.
You know?
Yeah, by the time they find you, you could have fallen out of a plane. They don't know.
Exactly. They don't know.
You're just bones and clothes.
Yeah, just cover me in bleach or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess you could light me on fire in the desert for good measure. But they would be able to, then they would think like, okay, well, clearly someone lit this person on fire, so it's a murder. If you just, put my body in the desert, maybe write a fake note, like use my phone to write a fake text saying that I went into the woods and to do some drugs or whatever.
Mm-hmm. That's what I would do. I would hack into your phone, and I would just blast your friends and relatives with, "Hey, I'm wandering off into the woods to do some drugs and worship Satan
or whatever." Yeah.
Gonna practice gunslinging by just spinning this loaded revolver around on my finger.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, that's where I'll be.
Okay.
If you turn on the tracking device on my phone, you will notice that is where it is.
In the desert.
That I'm in the
Yeah, just doing whatever. Just doing Dave stuff in the desert.
Yeah,
It's remarkably easy to kill me, I think.
Yeah.